Beautiful people, today's video is all about enlightenment or awakening. So, when we hear things about, awakening, enlightenment, third eye opening, until you experience it, it's something that you can't really grasp. We can't intellectualize this process. It's not something you can read about in a book or adopt as a belief system from someone else. The sensible way to go about it is to experience it for yourself directly. And that's what I chose to do. When I was a really little boy, I remember people talking about the Bible and religion and, here's this book and it's off the shelf and you just read it and adopt what someone else thinks is the truth about this universe. And I wasn't even 10 years old yet, and it didn't sit right with me. So I always recommend that you become your own evidence. You become your own science by finding out for yourself. So when you awakening, as they say, or enlightenment, is the end of suffering. And you're able to acknowledge that all form, all objects, all of this entire universe isn't actually separate. It's not separate bodies and separate forms moving around, but it's all unified. It's all connected. Exactly what the Buddha taught more than 2,500 years ago. And modern day physics, cutting edge quantum physicists have only just in the last couple of decades proven it in a Western framework. But it was exactly what the Buddha and the mystic and other spiritual teachers have been saying for a very long time. So there is a unified field of information that gives life or creates. It's the creative source of all that you see here. All that you experience has come from one unified field of information, and you are actually in co-creation with this intelligence. So your consciousness, your energy, so your intention being sent out into the cosmos, and the emotion, the congruency of how you feel inside your body is setting up this feedback loop between you and this universal consciousness constantly, all the time. And that's how you can manifest, because quantum physics says that matter can't even exist until we put our awareness on it. Okay, until consciousness observes. It's a process known as collapsing the wave function. Because when they looked at the atom, physicists were like, well, let's look and let's keep looking and deeper and deeper and deeper into what they thought were the smallest building blocks of the cosmos. And then they looked into the nucleus until they kept looking until it disappeared. There was actually nothing physical there. So Madonna was wrong. Okay, Madonna, wherever you are, we're not living in a material world. You might be a material girl, but we do not live in a material, physical, separate, mechanistic universe. All forms are connected in this invisible, unified field of information, which some people call spirit or universe or God, whatever you want to call it. So it's through a monstrous act of reductionism of your five senses that we believe it's a solid world out there and that everything's separate. And I think that's also why everyone wants to look out there to find, God, or to find that higher power, because of the way our five senses plug us in to 3D reality. But in my near-death experience, in my coma, I experienced that there's nothing out there. It's in you. We are gods in the flesh, moving around, having an experience we call life. Jesus said the kingdom of heaven is within you. Anyone who says, look here or look there, believe them not. So once you experience this for yourself and you awaken, You don't need anyone to tell you anything. You don't need a book. You don't need to try and prove or run around trying to convince anyone of anything, because you become the science. Okay, it's direct experience. That knowing means it's not a belief propped up on someone else's belief. And that's true self-empowerment. That is what it means to end suffering and to acknowledge the oneness of all of life, because that intelligence that's beating your heart right now and carrying out trillions of chemical reactions in your body, okay, growing your fingernails, it's doing that for you and for me, regardless of our sexual preferences or our political view or the color of our skin. Okay, it doesn't judge you. It loves you that much that it's bringing you into life, into form. And when you can know this, then true compassion arises naturally. It says, see, when you say I've got nothing in common with that person, I mean, Jesus said, love thy enemies. When you understand that we have everything in common with all forms in this universe, shared mortality, quite in no time at all, maybe very, very soon, or in a few years, maybe a decade or a few, your physical form will be rotting flesh in the ground, like as if it never was. Okay, so we have this shared mortality from the level of physicality, and we have a shared immortality, the fact that we are immortal and eternal in consciousness. So the true self, who you really are, beyond your story and your name and the emotional pain that we carry, we are infinite and eternal. And that's something that you've got to experience for yourself. When you go there, it transcends any teacher, any book, any religious text that you may have clung on to. I mean, for me, I remember my mum talking about our grandma when she passed. You know, she'd been Catholic, and at the very end, she came to some sort of understanding that this was someone else's belief. This was just something she'd subscribed to. Like I said at the start of the video, off the shelf way of believing and perceiving and living in the world. Boom, there it is. Okay, I'm a Christian, I'm a Catholic, I'm a whatever. But at the end, all those deadening layers start to pull away. And what was left was fear, and that she was frightened. And so for me, that was never good enough. And my near-death experience and going through what I've gone through reconnected me with the true self and removed all the fear of dying. Because if we are completely addicted to this world and addicted to form and that image in the mirror that looks back at you, and you think that's who you are, is it any wonder we see such unconscious behavior and depression and addiction and violence and judgment and all of this stuff in the world? Because people are clinging to something that is a blip. Boop, okay? Because the only thing that we know for sure is that all matter and form is extremely temporary. That's it. It's boom. It can be gone just like that. So when we cling to just that, no wonder we see people disenfranchised and frightened and apathetic and unable to step into their power and believe in something greater, because we're hanging on to something that you can't hang on to. It's not our right to do so. So what I would hope for you is that you've drawn something out of this video and that you want to find out for yourself. Don't take what I say as some sort of way of living in the world. Become the evidence. Find out for yourself. Become your own scientist. And when you experience it and you live it and you come back from that place and you open your third eye, you reach enlightenment, you will see that the reason all these different spiritual teachers and mystics are all saying basically the exact same thing is because there's one journey. There's one truth. It's the hero's journey. It's your birthright. You to reach that expanded consciousness for you to reach that level of enlightenment. Not some miraculous feat that, oh, the Buddha, Jesus. No, you, okay? You. It's a journey in consciousness that we take. You might have heard of Jacob's ladder. I mean, Jacob's ladder is just this, it's a scale of ascending and descending points of consciousness. And that's all of this universe, all of humanity sitting in these different points of consciousness. And you can choose any one that you want to. It's up to you. You have limitless potential to expand your consciousness and become someone else, to live the way you want to live. Okay, but if we keep looking out, as Carl Jung said, she who looks out dreams. She's a dreamer. And she who looks within awakens. And that's exactly what happened to me in my near-death experience. And it's the most liberating, beautiful, powerful, creative, expressive, compassionate place that you can come from in this world. Okay, so find out for yourself. That's what I hope. You find out for yourself, and we can bring more love, more expression, more compassion into this world. Because as I said, ultimately, when you judge others, you're judging yourself. There's no blame here, guys. We just take full responsibility, and full responsibility means self-empowerment. You've got this. You can do this. If I can do it, there's absolutely no doubt in the world that you can do it as well. You can do far more than what I've been able to accomplish. So that's it. That's today's video. Do some soul searching. Find out what resonates for you. Okay, so if the video has motivated you in some way, and you could hit a like or subscribe to the channel, that would be awesome. If you want to read my book, you can head to damienhorton.com/limitless, and you can listen to the audiobook. You can get a signed hard copy. You can get the ebook. Totally up to you. But yeah, I haven't moved an inch in way over a decade since having this experience. And I haven't been able to spit the hook, if you will, of teaching and sharing and creating and bringing more light into this world because of what I experienced. And coming out of that coma, I knew that this is why I was given a second chance. So this is my purpose. This is my mission. And I can't back away from it. It's impossible. Okay, so I love you guys. And from my heart to yours, I'm wishing you all the best. Sending light, sending love.